This is the side of operations people don't see. It's not just about the end result. It's early mornings, late nights, tough conversations, and decisions that don't have easy answers. It's what it actually takes to build something that lasts. Hosted by Coach Kent and Amy, this is where behind-the-scenes operations meets practical ownership, where we talk about the systems, the standards, the mistakes, and the lessons behind being entrepreneurs. No fluff, no highlight reel, just the work behind the work. This is Iron Ops.
Hello and welcome to the very first official episode of Iron Operations. I'm one of your hosts, Amy Tipper. If you're tracking with us for the first time, I spend my days navigating the high-speed world of marketing and brand design at my company, AT Design Studios. But this show exists because the real, unfiltered business lessons, the ones that actually matter, happen right on the gym floor. My co-host, Kent Aitchison, who is a 20-year veteran coach and the owner of TCSE Kamloops, we're pulling back the curtain on the fitness industry. We're here to talk about the tactical systems, the leadership standards, and the raw grit it takes to build a community that lasts. In this debut episode, we're jumping right into the deep end. We're breaking down Kent's personal philosophies on workout programming and doing an extensive review of the 2026 CrossFit Open, looking at everything from workout design to the actual athlete performance under pressure. We're also getting into the operational side of things, mapping out tactical strategies for gym culture and business growth, and breaking down exactly how to foster an inclusive, highly motivated community that actually sticks around. There's no fluff and no highlight reels here. Let's get into the work behind the work. Welcome back to another episode of Iron Ops. We took a little bit of a hiatus, but the CrossFit Open happened during that time, and we've got lots to chat about. So how are you? How did it all go? What's been new other than that?
Finished the Open, and then quarterfinals had to run all weekend, and then we have our gauntlet on Friday. So a lot of extra things I need to do on top of regular day-to-day. Just the quarterfinals, it's great. It just a little disruptive. And plus there's a pending event, which isn't my big one, but it's still a big looming to-do list. So lots going on, but all's going well. So I'm trying to get gauntlet stuff done, but I gotta, block out time for quarterfinals, which is getting through a few heats of a few people for 4 workouts, snowballs a few extra hours into a weekend that you weren't accounting for. So.
And how many athletes made it to quarterfinals for you guys?
I think we had about 20 qualify, and then I forget the exact number, maybe 10 to 12 actually did them, I think.
Nice.
Mostly for fun. There's 2 age groupers that got into semifinals though, which they're pumped on. So they've kind of evolved that system too, with largely, I think most of them get filtered into an online semifinal, but there's some in-person opportunities too for masters this year too. So we'll see how it goes. Coming on Friday, and then the classic registrations opened up. And so that's all already kind of getting ramped up too.
So yeah, your comp season is well underway with the gauntlet and the classic and kind of going into the summer season. How did your erg shoot training and the practice days go for that?
Good. Got a few more. I think most people have dabbled into it, but I think we'll give it more of a cramming shot on Thursday and Friday morning. I'll have it available all day. I think it's similar to what Carly and I did in California. You just goof around with it, and when the event comes, you do your best, but just have fun with something new.
Yeah, sweet. Recapping the Open, all 3 weeks of the workouts. How do you feel like it went for you in your gym this year?
It was good. A very similar registration total to last year. It's funny because, we put free prizes and like free shirts and a donation on their behalf, and we're doing it. And we get one of the top registrations in the world, but still like less than half of our gym actually does it on the total roster. But the energy's still good. And I see a lot of gyms do the intramural and Friday night lights all the way through 3 weeks. I just think because we have such a big volume, I'm glad I've done it this way, that we just do the Friday night finale on the 3rd week, because I feel like it would get a bit old doing the Friday night 3 weeks in a row. And because our gym is such a class-based operation, even our 4:30, 5:30, 6:30 a.m. classes on the Friday gets, pretty good open level juice all 3 weeks. So that was good. I was pretty happy with the first 2 workouts and what they were and logistics and tests and what they were. I was pretty disappointed with the 3rd workout on what was in there. That was really not that fun to do. or watch in our finale. And I mean, I'm usually very, very glass half full and optimistic about workouts, and it was very tough for me to get excited about that. So I was just a little bit disappointed in how the finale just kind of fell flat on just an experience standpoint. If you recall last year, we went like I forget that order, but it was like row, wall walk, snatch, row, wall walk, clean, row, wall walk, deadlift, weight went up. So there was a good flow on 3 movements with the weight going up.
Mm-hmm.
And so in our Friday night finale, it's kind of like this little mini event race thing. It's fun to watch and see what people are doing. This year, just like I do like the announcing for the heats, and I don't know where anyone is because it's the same. Even the way the rounds were doubled, like 2 rounds of the same thing before the weight went up. When people finally changed their weight, you could see if they got to the second weight, but even like really beastly people barely got to the 3rd round. So there was really a nice strength expression, and I feel like it was just burpee purgatory for the workout, which is still like, I think that would have been a good test in week 1, but we already kind of did the grindy, low skill grind in week 1. I just didn't see the point of that. And then if it was that way, I still think there was be another way to do it with like single rounds with weight going up every single round into 2s. But it's my opinion. I'm usually just very, very optimistic and glass half full, but I struggled with that one.
Do you think if that first workout and third workout were switched, that it would be maybe different energy wise as like the finale at the end with the wall ball one?
Yeah, well, the wall ball one would have been a better finale event on like, at least you know where people are at when they start doing jumps or med ball step overs. But there still is no finish line because they're all 4-time workouts, but no one's finishing those, the non-mutants. The second one was good though, because the second one was sick because it was like you got the people with their first pull up and their first ring muscle up. Did you get a ring muscle up?
No, I missed the second one because I was in Jasper on a ski trip, and Jasper doesn't have a CrossFit gym, and I was skiing. So the second one I missed completely, but I did the first and the third one.
Yeah. So anyways, that is the open to me. The second workout, we have those like kind of checkpoints on skill, and then like the scaled people can get their first pull up or the chest to bar or the ring muscle ups. We had lots of those cool moments. And then some people who were able to actually finish, or like girls in our gym, getting double-digit muscle ups and stuff, not quite finishing the workout, but still pretty sick. So I thought that was a great one. But the third one just had no finish line or kind of fun or flow to it. I think it's a good test to have in 3 weeks, but it just was redundant with the first one. And I know it still produces the next level and all the best people still get to the top, but part of the open, the first stage should be for member experience. And that was just like which I don't even like tasting those words because I usually can sell it so well.
Well, and I know like I think behind the scenes and I think of the programming for the open and how they have to make it just accessible enough that any gym can kind of do it, but also, they can't, I don't know. I think there's limitations within the open workouts. So I can only imagine as somebody who writes lots of workouts, you can probably think of an epic open workout sequence set that would be awesome and fun.
And I have my bias. I'm sure if I ever was like the one person running the open, like you would still get lit up on whatever you put out there. Like you have to have thick skin to put that kind of thing out there, which is what I really admire about Dave, is how thick his skin is. But I know all the workouts pretty well from like the last, almost all of them, but 10 years. And I feel like the last couple of years, I was really pumped. That's why I really started leading to the open wars, because I felt like they did a great job with the 3 weeks on making it different, but cool formats. And some are just grindy, tough ones, and some are just those skill checkpoint ones. If you look at like from like 2022-ish on, I think they've all been pretty great. I thought this open was like on pace to be a wicked one. First workout, like a grindy, but that's okay. It's first week, get people into it. Let the High Rocks people have some nice scores. Second one, like getting people, like when people like lock out their first muscle up or get a first pull up, it's such a cool experience thing. And then like I thought third workout could be a cool, like gated, like, there's one a couple of years ago. I'm looking for it. 23.2, I'm going to say, let's see. But that was a good one now. Or 23.3. Yeah. 5 wall walks, 50 double unders, snatches, weight 1. And then same thing with little less snatches at weight 2. And if you're done within 6 minutes, you add 3 minutes. And you go strict handstand push-ups, double unders, weight 3. So it checkpoints on some skill levels where you can do the wall walks. Most people can get those done. And then if you struggle with the weight or the strict handstand push-ups, cuts you off. I thought it would be something like that with like the weight going up to like real weights, but the heaviest weight was 135 pounds for guys in that last part. But most people didn't even get to full sets of that. So
Yeah, that's fair.
But so but it was like they had the first two, so I thought they were awesome, and then the third one, like, damn it, like that sucks. You guys were on pace for such another good year of the Open. Ruined it.
So you wouldn't say overall, like from, 2021 on to now that, like, would you say the workouts have become overall simpler to try to accommodate more gyms or no? Do you think it's a good mix
No,
of kind of variety movements and stuff?
yeah, I think it's been great since when they switched to 3 weeks. That's when I was like, okay, so much better. And then they've done better jobs with like floor plans. I've talked about this before. Like the floor plans before were stupid. They were like, okay, like rower has to be 15, I'm exaggerating, 15 feet from the barbell and you need a 75-foot shuttle run lane. I'm exaggerating, but there's one year with like barbell overhead walking lunges. Like my gym's not tiny and I have 150 people. Like I can only find that workout like 2 at a time. So anyways, they've done a really good job on adjusting that. And I feel like the workouts have been better to allow people to access them, but the high level people to crush and show up at the right spot on the leaderboard. And this year still did that. It just, unfortunately, they ended on that one.
Well, and I think I heard mixed things about it, especially that last one too. But you also have that perspective of, writing workouts, programming, floor space, heat programming, a little bit different than maybe just the athlete doing the workout. So I think it's definitely valuable too.
Yeah, well, because part of CrossFit is kind of, and I know it's still it's still a good test, and the right people went through. It's not like it like ruined the season, but those people will get through no matter what. So if you can enhance the experience and those breakthrough moments and the kind of the fun part of the workout, it's the same like how I try to design my events. Like I want people to come back. So if you just like crush, like, oh yeah, and just like grind on all 5 workouts, people won't do that. It sucks. They're all like really similar. So anyway, it's like you're selling the open experience. That's the whole like entry point. Top level people will sign up no matter what, but those people like even like my level or your level that are pretty good at CrossFit. But if I didn't own a gym, I'd go, I don't know. Or if my gym didn't give me a free shirt and do a donation, wasn't that fun? Anyways, I'm ranting. But it could have been so good.
Do you know how, like at the games, how there were, even in their branding, they were really kind of throwing back the original like grit of CrossFit and
Forging Elite
like
Fitness and all that.
Yeah. I think they were kind of throwing it back to that, just like grit, that basic, just show up. CrossFit is gnarly, deal with it, like throw up in the corner, keep going. A little bit of that kind of just like.
Yeah,
so
but they
maybe
didn't have any high skill stuff. They weren't doing like squat snatches and stuff that we would proprietary do either. But yeah.
Because it's the open in particular that like, again, that accessibility to gyms anywhere, that if you have a dumbbell and a barbell, you can do the open,
Yeah.
I didn't see all of the quarterfinal workouts, but similar to somebody made a reel like practicing all these high skill movements. And then one of the workouts was like shuttle runs and something else and very basic.
No, I would disagree. I think the quarterfinal workouts were quite good, actually.
Okay. I didn't see all of them, what they were in like a sequence, but.
You can't just do purely advanced stuff. That's not what CrossFit is. You should be able to do burpees and like wall balls and basic stuff really, really well as a fit person, not just because you have high skill, but because you're fit. Like those games athletes, they're mutants. They will destroy the wall ball, burpee, shuttle run crap better than any of us, but they do the high skill stuff too. But if you look at the quarterfinal workouts, I was pretty pumped on what they were in general, because you still have to put through like class. Well, I ran a few of them in classes actually. Yeah, I think they were pretty great actually.
So if somebody isn't as familiar with the quarterfinals, there's 4 workouts, right? And they have a week to do them, or how does it work?
They release on the Monday, and then you weren't allowed to, you could do them, but they wouldn't count. You had from Thursday morning until today at noon to do all 4. So you could repeat if you wanted to. And then the unlike the Open, the leaderboard's blind until noon. And then there's like cutoff points for semifinals for the overall and then the age groups. So it's like, I think the top 2,000 for guys, girls go to semifinals. So again, it's funneling into these in-person events or online semifinal. And the age groups is similar with like less numbers overall than the like the non-age group category, which they didn't do quarterfinals last year. And like Ireland, who I coach and works with me, is when I started personally coaching and programming for a couple of years ago, she wanted to make quarterfinals as a goal. And then they've changed quarterfinals a few times where it was, one time it was top 10%. and then they got rid of it last year. It's 25%, which I think serves as a nice funnel to get lots of people in there. I mean, it gets revenue for CrossFit, which I don't have a problem with too.
Mm-hmm.
And and then she felt really good about just getting to quarterfinals and then no pressure, just did them all, and then surprised herself a little bit with performance too. I think so. That was pretty good.
That's awesome. Yeah, I saw her PR the other day. I think it was her power clean or squat clean. It was awesome. I know the games athletes train through and they treat a lot of these, they give it their best because they're trying to get somewhere. But I thought it was crazy that Danielle Brandon did it on the Friday or whatever, or Thursday of Wadapalooza and then competed that weekend, which again, I guess it's just a workout. It's just like a 14-minute
But that was the
workout.
Open, because I think Miami moved their date to early March. Wadapalooza, it overlapped with when the Open was scheduled. So I think they made a deal like CrossFit will tell you what this is the workout. You guys have to fit it into your thing. And then it was a collaboration announcement thing. And then those guys are so good. Like it's not like they're going to be at risk of not making quarterfinals. And they always could redo it. But I don't know if you saw, they had to like cancel the entire like Sunday of Wadapalooza in Miami because it was raining so hard.
I did see a lot of parts about the rain. I was looking at the vendor side and the vendors were like, all rained out and didn't get sales and stuff. And that's kind of sucks.
Yeah, it's horrible.
I didn't know it was canceled.
Yeah. So if you're like a regular division person, like what Carly and I did in California, you didn't do your Sunday events at all. And then I think they had the elite people do the Open workout as part of their schedule, like affiliates in the Miami area inside, which is crazy that they don't have like any weather contingency plans that big.
That's
like,
crazy. They should think about that. Yeah, that's true.
Like, come on. Like, well, I'd be kind of annoyed. Like, you pay big money to get to Miami, stay in hotels, and for like a big event experience. Like, even if you're like a scale person, like if it was a disaster and there's a hurricane or something, like heavy rain, you should be planning for that.
When is it usually in Miami? Like during that time, you said they rescheduled, but
was in January. Carly went to it the year before, and they had like this once in a lifetime cold spell in Florida, so they probably wanted to move it later. And then they got rained out. It's just too bad.
Bummer. Okay, so looking at these workouts, just to pick your brain a little bit on just from that kind of coaching side, for each of the workouts, 1, 2, and 3, did you see any like qualities within athletes or strategies that from the people who are the top performers, just to kind of get a bit of insight of like, what did they do that was really helpful? Where did you see strength through some of these? And just what did those top performers do in your gym?
Well, let's just ignore the third one so we don't have to talk about it anymore. But the first one, I would just say like toughness is a huge trait I always thought was super important in swimming training. For most distances, like the best all around swimmers that I coach, like, and more so in year round swimming, because there's long course events and stuff, like the grit, tough, like push through back end of races and things like that.
Don't insult summer swimming like that. Hold on. No, just kidding. You're right.
It just is different. Doing like a 50 breaststroke's a little bit different than doing like a 200 backstroke long course.
I know. You're right.
It just in terms of toughness, right? And CrossFit has like a lot of like kind of glycolytic high working zones. Like people like really got deep into like the latter half of the pyramid on the wall ball thing. Some of them are just fit, and then some of them you can just tolerate pain and distract yourself and manage those really high heart rate zones and just keep going and not put your hands on your knees or take breaks. I would say with like a combination of good strength and fitness and that kind of like that psycho, like dark zone toughness that some people have, that's sort of who I think could really excel at that workout. The second one was more like a high skill separator. I mean, if you had a single ring muscle up as a girl, you automatically jump up a huge amount of percentage points on the leaderboard. But even guys, like each ring muscle up is just so valuable if you could get all the way through, or just like each one was a pretty big jump up on kind of like a tiebreaker. So I would say that was the big one on that. And then if you are like a beast that can actually finish through just pacing, I think like Ben went really quick on that one. And, but I think he failed this 20th rep more than once, So if he would have and then probably added a minute to his time, it was in the morning, I didn't see it, but so managing that kind of the gamble fatigue. Whereas like Eric, I think did like smaller sets of the ring muscle ups from the start and didn't blow up and just flew through it and didn't get stuck. So just different strategies, but ultimately a skill separator, which is a good component.
Sweet.
What did you see at Leduc for that first workout? Any monsters?
Yeah, we have a crazy strong girl. She's a power lifter. She's just a beast, and she won the best in the whole gym. I can't remember her exact score, but she just has strong legs. So I didn't see her do it either, but I think she just, like you said, kept going. She had the strength and probably came a little bit easier to her than, obviously she works very hard to build that, but she's just solid. She's a rugby player. And so she just had that leg strength to kind of power through without stopping. But I had to do that one like on Thursday night, and because I had to leave I planned all these trips during the Open because I kind of forgot and didn't realize it was the Open season. So I got it done Thursday night. Was happy with what I got for what my like strength was. But I, on the last half, definitely took a lot of breaks, and I kind of just did what I was able to do.
Yeah, I remember you had posted it that you finished on that Thursday, so it was good to get it done.
Yeah, I was glad I did it. And then I tried to make it fit in my schedule to get that second one done and just couldn't. And then the third one, I was in Colorado, and the elevation my lungs literally just felt like a cheese grater for the last half of that workout. And it was pretty brutal. Just a lot of breaks, just even trying to catch my breath, just because I was a little bit out of shape and just couldn't breathe very well. So that was really hard. And so I applaud all athletes who work out at elevation and are trained to it. And
Okay. Well, where you live is actually pretty high elevation relative to most places.
well, I feel like I'm only at, 3,500 or something like that. And this was at 7,000. So it was almost double.
So I thought Denver's around 5,000.
It might be, but I was in Pagosa. It's at 7. So it was tough. So again, I was glad I did it. I've always kind of felt like the Open is at a time of the year that just kind of sneaks up on you, that if you hear about it and you decide to start training in January, February, it's just like too late. Like you needed to put the year in worth of work to get to a fitness level. If, anybody can do it, but yeah, I just feel like I didn't plan for it very well, but on top of just kind of trying to prioritize some workouts, I just got done what I could with what my fitness level was at. And, I definitely was excited though for all the athletes in the gym, and our Friday night light pictures were amazing. Like I think we had 40 to 50 people show up per night, and it looked like everyone was really into it and loved it. So it was exciting. We had a couple of videos where it was first pull-ups post-pregnancy, stuff like that. And we had definitely a few jumping up and down, screamer, excited members, and it's awesome to see. So yeah.
That's
I
good.
think overall it was good. Any other notes overall or on kind of the next steps? You and I are going to the games, which will be exciting to see kind of this progression of workouts continue. But
Yeah, at least, these ones aren't community ones. They don't need to make it fun. They should still make it a spectacle. They were pretty tame last year for a good reason, but it'd be cool to see some, cool implements like the worm and the snail and those things that they had
yeah, it would be fun.
previously. We'll see what they do.
Yeah. All right. If that's what we got about the Open, we have a few scenarios if you want to talk through that, and then a few kind of rapid fire questions. If you want to get into that. Okay. So here's a gym situation, hypothetical, but could be very possible to an existing gym out there. They have 180 members. They are technically profitable, but they're hitting a culture ceiling. Half the members are OG athletes who want high-intensity competitive CrossFit. The other half are new wellness-focused members who come in through their attached physical therapy clinic. They're intimidated by the loud music and heavy lifting. So a 50-50 kind of half-member culture divide. So the high-intensity athletes think the gym's getting soft. The wellness members feel like they don't belong. Head coach is frustrated because they're trying to program for both, but hitting nobody. So what's the first standard you reset? How do you bridge that gap between the two members and that core identity in the gym?
Did you get this question from?
Brainstorming
AI?
online. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's a good hypothetical. It's tricky because I think I've always kind of struggled with that too, is that because I want to support and applaud beasts and, but I don't think it's appropriate to pedestal people that are more fit the same way that, my swim club lessons is like, if you're breaking records and getting gold medals, you deserve recognition, but you don't necessarily deserve more coaching than the kids that aren't doing that if they're working equally hard and positive members of the group. So I feel like there's a way to sell. Some people refuse to perceive it if they have issues with their own self-evaluation where they're at. But I feel like if you provide proper modifications, I don't use the word scaling because I feel like it automatically has that hierarchy. If you scale something, like your workout's less.
Mm-hmm.
So I like modifications. So the same way you would like adjust your weight, or if you do, like we did strict handstand push-ups today, but you could do a pike handstand push-up with a deficit, which in some ways, especially for depending on the capacity and volume of it, a pike handstand push-up, like with your feet on a box with a deficit would be harder to accumulate like 20 reps over this thing that we were doing versus like having 2 mats and doing handstand push-ups on the wall. And if you sell your membership in your classes that you can, and 3 bears, your workout, not too hard, not too easy, but just right. Like it should be hard and difficult. But if you fork in the road your workout in a way that everyone in the class can hopefully hit a similar stimulus, target time, target score within reason, it shouldn't be perceived as a hierarchy thing. And you should celebrate everyone's working hard and improving rather than who's the best. And I think that would largely solve issues over time with buy-in from top down on how you deliver that message from your ownership to your coaches, and then how your members perceive it. And if it's perceived poorly, you sell them and you turn it around on the negativity, whether it comes from either end of the spectrum of fitness. But would be still a pretty difficult thing to do if it's split in half like that. The other thing that you could do is also add an additional program.
That's what I was going to say, is that's what it seems like. Not that you have that issue, but it seems like you
We do
identified
have 2 programs though.
Yeah.
But I would argue that so recently our engine program that we have, maybe 2 months ago, I made it a 60-minute class instead of 45, partially just for programming flexibility to add. Like I still like want the brand and flavor of it is like a little bit longer and sweatier, but the hour gives us time to do like sets of front squats, like tempo front squats, heavy bench press stuff after as like strength finishers. Cause I think it's still like super, super valuable to put strength stuff in, like middle-aged ladies dealing with osteoporosis and like whatever the avatar is. And so when people are doing intros with me, I'm like, yeah, the engine's not easier. It's simpler or it's less complex, but like the CrossFit Open workouts we just discussed, that first workout was super simple, but it wasn't easy.
Mm-hmm.
And the second workout with the ring muscle ups didn't hurt as bad as the first one. It was just more complex, right, with the movements. So there's a way to sell it within the own, if you're running a single program, but you can also probably, with 180 people, you should have enough infrastructure to add another class type, even if you only have 1 workout space, and have enough people to hopefully make it worthwhile to run.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. And up is like you guys might not necessarily have that the problem of culture differences. I think everybody's pretty bought into the culture you have at your gym because you've intentionally set it up that way.
Well, I'll say it's not perfect. I know that. It's like there's people that would probably relate to what you said, where they feel like it's this, but it's not going to be perfect. But I intentionally, like, you can read any social post or newsletter that I've ever sent. I've never like going like bang hierarchy. These are the most important people in our gym. The thing that we celebrate is attendance and showing up. But ultimately, if you do show up a lot consistently for years and get those big like 2,000 attendance rewards people, as long as your effort's there and attitude's there, probably pretty fit and good at CrossFit. It's a correlation.
Yeah, like the culture part of it for you guys is the just show up, like you just said, and the fist bumps and the friendly nature and whatnot. Try hard, try your best. But do you think you position the 60 class as your like foundation primary, or do you have a large group of members who maybe attend for engine only and that's the only thing they're interested in? Kind of like this example.
Well, our 60 program is definitely the flagship program, and we run 10 or 11 of those in a day and only 3 engines. Then we have a legends and kids. It's, CrossFit's such a fun and effective program, and if anyone can do it, like you can modify anything and make it like a perfect workout for everybody. And some people just have a hard time seeing that, or they just get a little deflated on like modification options, or they just want a little bit longer thing so the engine fits them better. But part of the reason why I wanted to do the 60 is like I didn't want it to feel like it was a 60 minutes for engine. I didn't want it to feel like it was a discounted program. It's just different. It's not going to be the same, but there's definitely some similarities in them some days. It depends on the day. But 60 has a lot more variety because it's a true CrossFit methodology program too.
I think it's really cool how you've expanded into all the programs you do offer, because I think it just services and allows you to reach that many more people through whatever way, even if it's just a preference, if they come in through that back way because they just prefer to do cardio or whatever, then they have a class to come to, and then see what you're about. Even the stretching and the all that you offer, I think it's really cool, and probably would be a really good solution for a situation like this where that culture is divided. If you still have, I mean, maybe this gym anyway just needs to have a bit of a culture meeting and decide what they want their main foundations to be first. But I think offering a few different classes like that makes sense.
Or you just end up being unapologetic about one and be like, this is who we are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like we're not like a spin studio or like a quiet yoga spa thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't apologize for that, you know. So
Yeah.
And then you can't be afraid to make changes to it. You gotta have good insight and numbers on it, intuition on it. But do you remember the class I had for a while? I think you did it when you first dropped in here when I expanded, was the lift and move. I still program that as an online program. And I really liked the essence of it, that it was like mostly like very CrossFit things, but I just left a lot of the complicated stuff out. But we still like power clean, but we wouldn't snatch or handstand push up, kipping pull ups or things like that. But it had like a strength and a Metcon, or still does. And I know it was like a popular class for quite a while, but it became like a middle child on the 60 and engine.
Mm-hmm.
And then engine evolved. I evolved that class in a good way. And then that lifting just became like this, like there's not enough people going to it. They would just go to either side.
Right.
So I had to kill it. Like a small amount of people were upset about it, but because it was such a small amount of people, it would be a dumb business decision to keep using it.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of engine has evolved to kind of include some of that like lift stuff
Mm-hmm.
in it. It's tricky.
Cool.
Yep.
How is your Legends and your kids programs going?
Legend's good. It's been like almost just over a year. And then some of them do the engine class too. Engine, like how I program Legends, it's like on Tuesday, Thursday, I just kind of modify the engine workout to a Legends workout to be more appropriate for that group.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's been good. The kids coming along, talk another time about my next gen tier system. It's got another version of it coming up soon.
Okay. Yeah, I'm excited to hear about that. That's cool. And because you've added it into, is it the classic or with it the gauntlet that you've added the youth to?
Both. Youth, it's just, there's only a couple of them in the gauntlet. And they're doing solo because I thought it might be hard for them to make partners.
Mm-hmm.
I made a teens division at the classic because I'm like, I host a pretty big event in Kamloops. Might as well just put a teen division in there if I truly want like a teens calendar of events.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we'll have a few teams in there, and then I'll start messaging some gyms around to be like, guys, let's get this team things going in BC at least.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's the full heat of eight teams of 2 teams, it's like a full heat. That'd be pretty exciting.
That would be sweet. Do you know much about like what the teens are like in CrossFit Canada? Like, do we have any really great teens in Canada going and participating in almost games level?
Not really. I know there's one teen recently. She actually just signed up for the classic, but I don't know if she's aged out of it now, but she made the games. Like Louise Eberts used to coach her a little bit. So she's from Vancouver area. There was a kid, he's older now, but I think he's probably almost the same age as James Craig and those guys. But he was at the classic the year he did it with Jer. And there's a guy that like clean and jerk, like a touch and go at like 365 or something. Remember that?
Wow. I think so.
But he was, I don't know how old he is, like early to mid 20s now, but he made the CrossFit Games as a teen at a Langley.
Wow.
But it's not quite like that swimming network where you like know who all the kids are. That's part of my interest and issues. Like hopefully we can change that over time.
Maybe you need to make like a ASSA.ca style website for Canada rankings for CrossFit teens or something like that.
Well, you can look at it pretty easily, like these semifinals and quarterfinals. They're teens, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got to get a tipping point of momentum on like having like a true teens group. You can be a trailblazer. So that's what I think you can do. Because largely I think it'd be like, there'd be the 1 or 2 kids that happen to really get into CrossFit young because their parents are into it or they stumble upon it. Like Emma Lawson was a teens CrossFit Games athlete before. She was actually, because I think it's 16, 17. And I think she went to the teens as 16, but then she made the games as 17, was already up pretty high on the list. And like Jason Hopper and James Sprague. Yeah. So a lot of those guys will go through, but I don't know. There's not like this like big, well-known club of like producing teens out. that I know
Yeah.
of. Not in Canada anyway.
Well, and that's what I mean is, like, I know it's tracked in the open on CrossFit Games, but I mean your tiers tracked online so that all the kids' results are online so gyms across Canada can see it. So once I do get into that, like, ASSA level, but once they do get into that kind of competitive or non-competitive, but they can see all the results from, like, 9 years old to 17, and it's all in the record, and you can compare from other clubs and other whatever. Something like that would be cool.
Yeah, with the stuff that I'm making up, yeah. But even like the games leaderboard, I mean, you could filter and see people are. I just, there's no one close to me that I know that's in there.
Maybe you need
But
to
there's got to be a way.
get that next gen domain, Kent, so you have it locked in so you can make the website. Anyway, we can talk about that a little more. I'm excited to hear how it's progressed. Okay, ready for some rapid fires? Now, you don't actually have to be rapid fire. You can explain some things if you feel like you need to. We've talked about this before, but I might word it a little bit differently. It's asking what if there's a business metric that gym owners are really focused on that doesn't matter, but maybe not even a business metric, but is there something you see coaches really focused on that they shouldn't be?
The fittest athlete in their classes, probably.
Yeah.
Just tunnel vision on top performers, which is cringe on many levels.
That's another question, is cringe factor. Is what is something that makes you cringe? But that might be a different answer. Do you cringe when people drop dumbbells?
Yeah.
Or do you just get mad?
Well, people don't drop dumbbells at ours. They just don't. I'll cringe at other gyms when they do it. It's like, man, you're just killing your floor and your equipment. It's not that cheap anymore.
A potential coach walks in for an interview. What's one sentence they would say that would make you say no?
Answer this one.
How many moms do you have in your gym? I don't know if I told you we had a guy walk in for a massage one time, and he asked something like that about, like, when do all the women get here? Like, what class are they in? And I was like, get out, leave, do not come here.
I get a lot of random foreign resumes dropped off.
Really? We had a random sketchy guy stand outside for the gym. He was only there for about 5 minutes, but we had we were in our longevity class and coach was there and we kind of look in and he almost looks like he's looking up to kind of look in the gym. And it's like, yeah, turn around, buddy. And then he saw somebody was in there, walked in and he left, but it was definitely sketchy. Do you think you could run a gym with only one piece of equipment, not a barbell? What would it be?
I did do that 6 years ago.
True. And that's how you took on personal training clients too, hey, with that changeable, that clickable dumbbell set. Or it wasn't changeable and clickable, they just stacked within each other.
Power blocks? Yeah. I had those. Well, I had those for like my own, but then I had personal training in Toronto and things like that.
Would you rather have 50 more members or $20 increase in your current members?
Do the math on what that is, but currently probably the $20 because I'm imploding on.
I was going to say you're probably at capacity
overhead
for everything, right?
No, but we could grow a little bit more. I'm just down a full-time employee temporarily.
Right.
So I just can't handle it as more workload.
In one word, what would you describe CrossFit as it is today? I feel like that's kind of tough, actually. Fun? Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I like it.
I would say probably grind. And I don't know if that's the best word to use, but I just think so much of the workouts, especially that like WOD, AMRAP style, whatever, just when you think of a CrossFit workout, I just think of grindy, but maybe that's not always the case. It's that 4-time mentality.
Still fun though. There's just so many different ways to do it. There's people.
Can you name some of your top, most ridiculous nicknames you've ever made stick with a member?
Ridiculous. There's a lot of them. There's this kid, his dad goes to the gym, and then there's 3, him and his 2 siblings also do the youth. He's a little bit of a character. I think he's like 11, but he was at our like awards party and with a magic show. And then the magician had a Rubik's Cube trick, and he was like, magician was like prompting like trivia on the Rubik's Cube as he was setting up the trick. And this kid knew like every answer. I guess he's like a Rubik's Cube whiz. And he just like, it was funny, this 11-year-old kid, because mostly just adults in there. Then dad brought the 3 kids because I think he just needed to bring them. So I always ask them that when next time I saw him, like, do you want to be the Rubik's or the Cube as your name? It's like the Cube.
The Cube. Wow.
So I've just been calling him the Cube when he walks in.
I think all the nicknames you have are pretty funny because they all derive from some kind of like story, I think, or some experience or something funny or stupid that somebody's done, or just like a general personality trait. But there's like a story, like you could probably go through the list of all your members and tell like the story of how they all got their nickname, unless it's just like a last name something. But
Named Pam.
yeah.
Well, I like coach her and stuff now too. And I just call her What's a Pull Up because she always asks, I don't know, she's been doing CrossFit since like 2018, but she asks like really like basic questions pretty often.
Right.
And like probably like 5 years ago, so 3 years in, she asked, so what's a pull up? And they're after like whiteboard prompt. And I think she meant like whatever the variants of pull ups were, but she asked questions that are kind of like, she kind of know. So I just call her What's a Pull Up. There's lots.
I know. What's the one of your friend who always would call you from the States? The guy?
Bodies by Bob.
Bodies by Bob. Explain that one.
Well, I like trained him for like off-season referee conditioning, and it was the summer of Bodies by Bob because he wanted to get the body ready for the referee season and the MILFs.
Wow. Nice. Oh, that's funny. Well, that's what I've got for my rapid fire. I think you did pretty good. I think some of these were funny and maybe not so rapid fire, but still really good answers. And I think that kind of brings us close to the end. I'm going to kick this sickness and try to go as hard as I can for a 2-month grind or something like that.
Yeah, you haven't logged anything in your workout login.
But remember, because I told you I've been sick for a week and a half, and that's why.
I still think if you just went and rode your one Concept 2 bike in your gym for like 20 minutes, you'd feel better.
You're right. Well, maybe that's a little bit of a struggle of just logging my things, but not actually having someone to tell me to go do things. But I have been feeling really bad, so that's been my excuse.
A little blood flow goes a long way. It doesn't need to be intense. I feel better.
We can wrap this up and we'll see you next episode, whenever that may be. We'll dive into your kids program a little bit more and have more to chat about. But great chat, and we'll see you next time. Peace out. Cut scene.
Thanks for listening to this episode. This is Iron Operations, hosted by Amy Tipper and Kent Aitchison. Today's episode was edited and produced by the team at AT Design Studios. If you like the show, hit subscribe and come find us on Instagram at TCSC Kamloops. We'll catch you on the next one. Class dismissed.